Welcome to Take 3, coming to you on WTSR Radio 93.1 FM. I'm Nikki Nailbaum.
And I'm Bill Nobes. Each episode of Take 3 brings you one independent artist, 3 songs performed live, and an in-depth interview about each song. This session was recorded on July 17th, 2022, from the Mill Hill Saloon in Trenton, New Jersey, one of the area's best venues for independent music.
This episode's artist is Gillian Omotoso. Gillian Omotoso is a 25-year-old trans female Nigerian-American artist of multiple trades. She has been involved in music, poetry, film, as an actress, writing, namely releasing a memoir titled The Girl with Three Legs. As a musician, she, as she puts it, redeems the dissonance through jagged but sophisticated harmonic and rhythmic schematics that range from poignancy to ecstasy, often in a single bar. Her four-octave voice can range from a raspy Nina Simone croon to an uncanny high range that can be either delicate or bold. Gillian is someone who likes to interweave complexity and profundity into something that hits and something that sticks. Gillian, thank you for joining us today. I understand you had to drive.
Yeah, I mean, New Jersey's not Pennsylvania, so driving across the state isn't that bad. I'm from Asbury Park. I should have said that.
Yeah.
I'm based in Asbury Park. Yeah.
Asbury Park is the best.
Yeah. I think of it as like the cornerstone of the state.
I think you're right. Asbury Park is the best place in the state.
I didn't say best, but it's important. Yeah.
I'll shut up now. Let's go to the first song.
respect to give my life meaning. Instead, I see myself, though the grace sounds best to share. Darling, I won't despair. If you see me standing there, trust me, I'm away. Yeah. If I am to forfeit my own life for this one, and let things be. If I am to stand tall amid all the conflicts and casualties, I'll be free.
Okay, Gillian, that song is called If I Am.
Yes.
Tell us what that is about.
That song is about, well, if I am to forfeit my own life for this one, let things be. So that's the first line, and it is about, well, my own life is not necessarily literal, but it is sort of. It's about letting go of your expectations of what your life should be or shall be for the sake of what you are currently experiencing and embracing such.
So when you say my own life for this one, who are you and where are you?
Well, honestly, if I get into it deeply, it's personally, it's about worries that this music stuff is not for me and that I have to do something else, like say poetry or something, which I love. I love poetry as well, but I don't love it as much as I love music. And so, I mean, music was like the hallmark of my creative identity, and so to neglect that would be sad. There's this quote, actually, that I forget the person it's credited to, but he said that all art forms gravitate or intend toward the form of music, in the sense that music can cause someone to react in just the blip of its vibration, and as a song, it's in synchrony with ideas that are floating through words on a sonic canvas, a sonic platform. I find that splendid and incredibly significant. So for me, I would always feel like I always have felt, at least, that I fall short to not be capable of music. But of course, I think I'm understating my capacities to say I'm incapable of music. So,
Given that, do you think you say you're a poet also?
I am, yeah.
The music
Lyrics are
element,
poetic,
do you think music transcends above merely spoken word?
I don't. And it's not something I realized until recently, because for a while I was in sort of a beat down sort of state about that I thought that music was a sort of distillation of all art. But that's kind of, I mean, music without words doesn't say, it causes you to feel, but it doesn't say, I mean, it can, but abstractly. You would really need, like, if I wanted to say, if I wanted to paint a picture of a war during the Renaissance or something, I could convey the emotiveness of it through music, but the pure distillation of the images and the thoughts being conveyed of that instance would require in some way, or at least would beg for or desire in and of itself a sort of you know, I'm getting really philosophical here, I guess, but a really sort of verbiage or a sort of painting or visualization. I mean, when we discuss senses, actually, most of what we discuss more so is the visuals rather than the sounds, interestingly enough. But the sounds come second. They're next in line. But the visuals, which can be conveyed into your mind's eye through words and sometimes through sound, it really is kind of goes back and forth. Like you can have music be the vessel for you to understand the world.
What comes first for you, the poetry or the music, or like what inspires what?
I'm someone who honestly does wake up and like has melody in her head and stuff, and you know, has like vivid sonic hallucinations. I mean, composition is definitely what I'm focused more at, rather than like performing. As far as like poetry or music, I think I mean, there was a time when I was like writing very vivid and even angular, which I still do, was sort of like melodies and harmonies and harmonic variations and all that stuff. And the lyrics were untidy and kind of impressionistic, but not in a way that like conveyed as much as it ought to or suggested ought to. Wow. Well, where was I?
Let's bring it back to the song, If I Am.
Okay.
One lyric or stanza that I noted was, if I am invited and then denied by those who had welcomed me.
Yeah.
And that left me feeling like there was a sense of betrayal in that. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Or disappointment. Because I often take the blame for if I'm rejected, you know. So
Yeah.
and I'll justify it very decently, you know.
And the next stanza reminded me of, so if I am exerted by long life well ahead of me, I could stay steady as a mantis, knowing my frailty comes with its power too. And that got me thinking, visualizing a mountain.
Well, firstly, I'm going to say also that this song I find very interesting because it starts with this very vibrant sort of funk pattern on the piano, that's kind of vibrant and upbeat and happy sounding, and then the chorus is very, it starts out dismal and dreary, intense and ominous, but then it goes back into that sort of vibrancy. You know, when you mentioned the mountain that you have to climb in front of you, it's sort of it's about faith. The song is about faith. It's about faith, patience, and patience in the Latin sense. Patience is actually based on a Latin word for suffering. When we can deal with the crucifixion and rise up, you know, it's maybe a dastardly analogy, but when we can do that, and we can climb and we can walk past, whether it be a mountain, a hill, or a valley, or a sand dune, you know, as long as you can get past or even observe and see beyond and see around, then you can be that sort of mantis that has patience within and is, you know, steady and prayerful and all that stuff.
I love how you're describing music and how you're going about it. It's amazing. It's visceral and it's beautiful. Do you have any questions?
As you say, I'll never lose my grip as I fight. That's conflict. Right?
Yes.
Which conflict? And tie that back into your faith statement, too, if you can.
Sure. So, well, if I'm correct, the chorus goes, and I'll tell myself and I, if I survive, I'll weather this night. I'll never lose my grip as I fight. I'm born to be all right. Mm-hmm. I think that says it all. I think it's very prayerful, very powerful. I like how that's phrased very much.
I'm born to be all right. Does that connect with the faith idea you're saying?
Yeah.
So faith in yourself.
You're born to go the distance and withstand the distance. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It says if I survive. There's no guarantee, but and indeed we don't survive at all. There's an end to all this, and that is mentioned in the bridge obliquely. It's the bridge more so has to do with that sort of as I mentioned, the sort of having to relegate yourself to a different fate from what you expected or intended to have in your life. But even if you're at death's knell, or if you're at the knell of anything critical or something intense or difficult, if this is my fate and I cannot celebrate the way I expect to live my life, to give my life meaning instead, I'll see myself with all the grace I expect. I'll see myself with all the grace I was blessed to share. Darling, I won't despair. And if you see me standing there, trust me, I'm aware. Yeah, very much so. Like I have to. Anyone has to first practice, as they say in DBT, radical acceptance. You have to be mindful of where you're at, and whatever plagues you, whatever blesses you, it's there in opportunity. I won't necessarily say for a reason, but it's there in opportunity. There's something to make out of it. And you can do that with grace, or you can do it with rejection, and I'll tell you, one is more painful. So, you manage, however.
Is radical acceptance a practice that you...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I was in DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, for about 2 years, and it taught me a great deal. Yeah.
So if that was 2 years, would that be at the time you wrote these songs?
No, before then, actually.
Oh, before then.
Before then.
And did they form? I'm guessing that we already answered that question. Did they influence the songs?
Probably, yeah. They probably did. Probably did.
All right, should we go on to this next song?
Let's go to the next song.
One day I'm down, the next day I'm up again. Seems that sometimes my moods are my only friends. Feeling myself again, then I'm falling down. Seems that I only win the third time around. I've ruined everything. I've ruined everything. I will take my ruin and build a castle of sand. You can take me as I am. One day I'm down, the next day I'm in my room. Could have been so much more. Planning, I wish. Every moment rings new. And I follow them like a cue. 'Cause I've ruined everything. I've ruined everything. I will take my ruin and build a castle of sand. You can take me as I am. Take me as I am, Lord, take me as I am. Take me as I am, Lord, take me as I am. Take me as I am, Lord, take Seems that my time is up just as it begins. Walking the city streets, embracing the mess. Restore myself off of carbon copy distress. Because I've ruined everything. I've ruined everything. I'll take my ruin and build my castle of sand. You can take me as I am. One day I'm down, the next day I'm up again. Seems that sometimes my moods are my only friends.
Okay, that was Ruined Everything, and I wrote a note on Ruined Everything, and it's interesting we were talking about DBT and radical acceptance, because one habit I have, it was a word coined by Peter Wolf, I think it was in a book called CPTSD, and doom spiral, where your thoughts get caught up, negative, and they just spiral down. And that's what I was feeling. I was relating to my own doom spirals when I read this, and I was wondering if you relate to that idea as part of this song.
I'm not sure I'm familiar with the doom spiral, actually.
That's just a loop of negative thoughts where they just keep continuing, and you get into a cycle of negative thoughts, of low self-worth or self-criticism or self-judgment.
Like rumination.
Yes.
Yeah, the song definitely does have to do with that, yeah. It definitely touches on, like, you know, well, it has to do with bipolar disorder, I guess you could say, which I've been diagnosed with it. I've dealt with a lot of moodiness and even anger episodes, and you know, I've been in bad spots mood-wise and behavior-wise. And even to touch on DBT, I mean, that's a program often used for people who are, you know, suffering from, you know, what's called borderline personality disorder, and I've definitely noticed things about that in me, and certain practitioners would corroborate this. But yeah, I'm so honest. The lyrics are very much about the cyclicality of my moods and the aberrantness of them, and of, you know, anyone who's dealing with the same and feeling. And the title is, you know, the chorus is refrain. It's about you know, feeling as though you've ruined everything because you are, you know, a moody dog.
Now, when you say feeling myself again, then I'm falling down, it seems that I only win the third time around.
Yeah, why
three?
Why three? Because the first time is your first chance. The second time is the second chance. You usually don't get a third chance. So by the time you're winning, people have already moved on.
I feel that I'm grasping like you feel like guilt for being you know, for having a low time, but then I sense that you're, you know, building a castle of sand with your ruin and like being constructive with it, and
which
like,
connects to faith. It connects to what I was talking about with the first song.
Okay.
It's about, you know, building, you know, out of what you got, you know, lemonade out of lemons, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like that sentiment.
When you say I could have been so much more, whose expectation was that?
Mine and other people's. Yeah. I've known a lot of people in my life, so and there's some that have stuck by me, and there are a lot who have fallen by the wayside. I have receipts of it all, you know. So.
You have receipts. I love that. That's a brilliant metaphor. Thank you for that. Okay, when you say "Take me as I am," and Lord, take me as I am, and it repeats.
Yes, it eventually becomes this sort of invocation to God. Mm-hmm. You know, just asking God, pleading to Him. You know, that like, and asking the world, and by proxy, I think, because kind of a holistic thing I believe in. You know, it's like I'm a Christian. I practice Christianity. I wish I knew more of the Bible than I do, but I know some, and I believe that, you know, the world it's broken, I guess you could say, but it's also a creation of the greater cosmos, which I consider to be God, and is thus essence of him. It's about asking existence almost
Acceptance.
to just accept existence, to accept you, for life, and the forces of love and of essence of anything and of people more specifically, to be there and to be okay with it. But honestly, when I said people, actually I wasn't sure of that, because I think it's not a desperate song. Actually, it's a song about if anything desperate, it's about accepting desperation rather than being plagued by it. So I think
Radical acceptance again.
Yeah, again, yeah.
Now, you mentioned the lyric earlier, walking the city streets, embracing the mess, wear myself off of carbon copy distress.
That's a lot to unpack.
And you promised to come back to it.
Yeah. Carbon copy distress is the main thing that's so cryptic in there. And it's there for a reason. I think basically to be a carbon copy is to be someone else, essentially. And you want to be, or at least I want to be someone distinct, and thus someone who, you know, relies on her own individuation and individuality to be something meaningful, and not to diminish myself through suffering or through having to say that my story is simple or frowned upon or has an end game that's early. And so I think that's what is in there. As far as walking the city streets, embracing the mess, it's about, and I'll admit it's kind of a hard line. There's definitely a hard line in there in that lyric. Walking the city streets, embracing the mess means, acceptance again, and taking it in, recognizing that other people deal. Sonder is that book of Obscure Sorrows mentions as a term for understanding that everyone has a story as vivid and as deep an experience of life as deep and vivid potentially as you do. So I think all of that is baked into that couplet. Yeah.
Is any part of the carbon copy distress have to do with the expectation we had talked about before? There could have been so much more, the expectation of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so. I think.
I can relate to that.
All right, let's go to the next song, Burden of Proof.
Every day there's the burden of proof.
Hey, tell us what this one means to you.
The song is about the capitalist pursuit to become somebody.
Winners play for gold each day, each night.
Yeah.
So the winning is the societal picture of success you're speaking of.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that correct?
Yeah.
Because my note that I made is the expectation of others creates isolation. Is that accurate or?
Could be. That's a lesson I'm still figuring out myself. So, could be it could be true. They say that. So, they say that.
Winners, it's like a
It's
a
like
game.
it's not a bad thing to be a winner, but it's sort of said in a sardonic, sort of satirical way that like, like this is who you got to be in order to be, and you want to be,
Right, like every day of your life, every moment, it's like you're playing a game.
that too, yeah.
kind of like, or at least that's what I'm getting. Also, I also think about capitalism and how certain people are when it's just like everything they do is for this goal, and it doesn't matter who gets in their way.
Dog eat dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you say, marry the grind
Yes.
as you move closer to the light and feel the pull of the night. Now,
Which is like almost like that song by the Smiths, hand in glove, the sun shines out of our behinds. It's almost like that perfect picture of bliss that is just idiotic to have because you're not, because the sun doesn't shine out of your behinds, and it's like, and you'd want to believe that if you're in love, yes, that like the world is yours, and it's not necessarily true, So yeah, what was the lyric again that I wrote?
marry the grind as you move closer to the light and feel the pull of the
Yeah,
night.
so as you move close to the light, firstly, if you move close to the light, you will die. Secondly, as you feel the pull of the night, that of course that would suggest that would be a rescue from the light if the light is to die. But the light is also a beautiful thing to go into, right? And then you feel again that like the push and pull of getting somewhere and like having to negotiate this yin yang pull of struggle that life is inherent to, and eventually you hope to get somewhere that's meaningful to you. Maybe you probably will actually, but it might not be a bed of roses.
Now, near the end, we have, this is all that I'd ever need, as I like, as I wish to be. And that feels like, to me, self-expression.
It could still be in character of the whole pursuit that like
So
but it has a glimmer too of like even as I struggle, as I forfeit my peace for greater peace, I gain peace inside over time. Even as I work and hustle and be someone, to, as long as while I keep working and doing things to become someone, eventually I do recognize that I am someone. Even amid all this work that might even be necessary to become what I'm supposed to be.
which plays to the last two stanzas. Own yourself, be your inner peace. No one had found solace in company.
Like that last line, no one found solace in company, is sort of weird because people do find ease among their true friends. See, even me, it's like a puzzle for me to sometimes still. I recognize that it's meaningful, but it's hard for me to articulate the meaning sometimes because I do pack in a lot of like, ideas about what life can throw at you. There's so much I pack into these songs, and it's not easy to discuss sometimes. That stanza at the end, right? We're talking about that last stanza. Like you can find peace and company, but the greatest love of all is it's for yourself. It's for yourself.
Because if you don't love yourself, it doesn't matter
Then
how many
it's
people
not gonna-
you are around. Yeah,
It's not gonna hold weight.
it's certainly not sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also reading it like I'm reading like, so you said before as I wish, like that could also like be in character, and it got me thinking like about like split the screen and it's you being you, you know, not in character with someone that's in character, and like they're singing the same thing about two different things. And I'm getting that about also the last line, like own yourself, like, you know, when we say own yourself, like, you know, take care of the stuff that you do, but also in a literal sense, because it's like a capitalistic, you know, endeavor. And then also like no one had found solace in company, but I'm thinking company in the literal sense too with that.
Yeah, I mean, you could even think of the word solace itself meaning, you know, peace alone. You know, there's a reason the word exists probably, and it's probably because, you know, if you can find peace alone, then no one has to give it to you, you know.
I think that's a good spot to wrap up.
I think that was an amazing interview. I got so much from that. That was so awesome. Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Gillian. Where can we find you online?
You can find me on my Instagram at Shy Extroversion. That's ShyExtroversion. And as far as my own content, there's a lot on there. It's kind of casual. I've mainly been focusing on working on my album, which is kind of daunting. I'm a bit of a peculiar specimen because you know, I don't have much music to release right now. I had released some stuff years back on Bandcamp under gillianlouise.bandcamp.com, and posted a demo LP or EP on Spotify some years back. But I'm still working on something really proper and solid to release. So for now, it's mainly just performing the occasional gig or open mic, and letting people know that I am around to give a show at times. But yeah, I also do have a YouTube channel under Gillian Omotoso, and Omotoso is spelled Omotoso. Gillian is spelled Gillian. So I have that. I do have a TikTok, but I don't really care much for TikTok. So Instagram.
Awesome. I'm on Instagram as Nikki Nailbaum Music.
And I'm on Instagram and Facebook as House of Robot, or visit houseofrobot.com.
To find out who is playing next here at Mill Hill, look up Mill Hill Saloon on Facebook. Thank you for listening to Take 3. Thank you, WTSR Radio and the College of New Jersey.